Welcome to the Wired for Success podcast, your show for ambitious, mission-driven entrepreneurs who want to build million-dollar businesses without sacrificing their health, relationships, or happiness, who understand that in order to build their empire, they need a solid foundation, and that the more they are thriving, the more their business is thriving too. This show brings you the very best from science, self-development, and entrepreneurship to set you up for sustainable success. Hi, I'm Claudia Garbutt, the scientist turned mindset and high-performance coach for entrepreneurs, and I help you get wired for success. This episode is brought to you by Pulsetto, the vagus nerve stimulator that biohacks your parasympathetic nervous system. Let's face it, we can't avoid stress in our lives, but we can learn how to handle it better. And in order to do that, we need to relearn how to switch our body's programming from the constant fight-or-flight mode back to the rest and repair mode. And you're probably thinking, that's certainly easier said than done when you A, don't have much time, and B, don't know how to do that. And that's where the Pulsetto device can be super helpful. It uses electrostimulation to help you activate your parasympathetic nervous system in as little as 4 minutes a day. 86% of users report feeling calmer and less stressed after using Pulsetto, and I can vouch for that. I've had some trouble with sleep, therefore I especially love the 10-minute sleep setting that helps me relax and fall asleep faster. And as we all know, good sleep is so important. So if you have trouble relaxing and you've been looking for a way to improve your sleep, why not give this a try? For more info, check out episode 208 of the podcast, in which I interview the co-founder of Pulsetto. And for a 10% discount on your order, go to pulsetto.tech/wiredforsuccess. That's pulsetto.tech/wiredforsuccess. Enjoy. Without further ado, let's dive into today's episode. Hey everyone, and welcome back to a brand new episode of the Wired for Success podcast, where we talk about all things science, self-development, and entrepreneurship that help you get to that next level of success in your life and business. My guest today is Ryan Wimpey, the founder of Tip Top K9, one of the top dog training franchises in the US. Welcome, Ryan, and thank you so much for being on my show today.
Hey, Claudia, thanks for having me. Glad to be on.
This is going to be fun. Now, Ryan, you obviously love dogs.
Yes. How could you tell?
I don't love dogs. So explain, when did you fall in love with the dogs? What happened? Tell us everything.
Yes, I think it was age 5. I grew up with dogs. My whole family has dogs. My dad had a hunting dog, grandpa, my uncles, everyone had dogs that they trained. I grew up with little dogs, big dogs, everything. I've loved dogs, been passionate about them my whole life. Having a rescue dog 20 years ago that had all these behavioral issues and really impacted my relationships with people is what actually got me into dog training, though.
So interesting. Isn't it interesting how you really have like dog people and cat people? Because I'm a cat person.
How did I end up here? What's going on?
Oh, is that wrong? No, I grew up with cats, and when I was a little kid, I had a dog kind of attack me, I was always like, I'm afraid of dogs. So why did you turn your passion for training dogs into a business, though?
I think a lot of people's passion comes from their pain, right? I've had multiple dogs with behavioral issues. It got me obsessed with dog training and how I could help my dogs. And then I think a natural progression of that is like, hey, others have experienced that same pain, frustration, discomfort, impact in their relationships with other people that I felt. And then I think the natural progression is to want to help other people that went through the same thing you did. Right.
Right. But you probably had other pains in your life as well, right? That you did not turn into a business. So what was different here?
So a few things. One, it's enjoyable work. Like training the dog, you get lots of results very quickly, and it's very emotionally rewarding, right? It's fun. It's active. I was doing a desk job for a while, like doing purchasing, not as rewarding. And then 2, dog training is also very financially rewarding, right? A lot of dog trainers bill out for at least $150 an hour. So without a college degree, I have a college degree, but without a college degree, a dog trainer could make somewhat doctor money, right?
Nice.
So,
I didn't know that.
Yeah. So if you get good results, you bill out very high. And so it's very emotionally rewarding. It can be very financially rewarding. So compared to that, to go back to a real job was very, very hard. So I got hooked up with a dog trainer, started seeing the results it made in people's lives, also started seeing the financial impact it had on my life. And I was like, this is great. Why would I do anything else?
But don't they say never work with children or animals? Isn't that the same?
Sure. I try not to train anyone under 9 years old.
Gotcha. No.
I think both of those just require a lot more patience. So it's not for everyone.
Right.
Like the cat doesn't care about you. Your cat does, but most cats, they're very independent. The dog and the kids are both very needy. Requires a lot of patience.
Yeah, they have a very strong attachment to their owners or parents, right?
Yes, yeah, exactly.
Well, dog training is such a competitive industry, yet you have carved out a somehow dominant position. So what makes your approach unique, and how do you stay ahead of the competition?
That's a great question. So a few things. One of our competitive advantages is we let our locations, right now we have 24 locations, focus on their job, which is training dogs, training owners, right? Mm-hmm. We do the call center work for them. We have a back office that answers all the phones, book their appointments, and does their billing. We also have 2 marketing teams that runs all their digital online. And we have a products team that sources everything at discount for them. So this enables them to actually focus on that core activity, because the pet industry is very rewarding in both of those facets. So it is more competitive. So that's where part of our competitive advantage comes in. The other part is we train about 3 times as long initially as other dog trainers do. So like our initial training program for the franchises is 6 weeks long, where competition is only 2 or 3 weeks long. And so our end product is just a lot better. So if our end product is better and the owner of that location has to do less back office stuff, it ends up with them actually training more dogs at a higher level. It increases referral, and the whole cycle just increases.
Sounds like you have the right systems in place.
Well, that's how we're franchised.
Yeah. That's awesome. Now, your primary customers are those busy parents who need reliable dog training, right?
Correct.
So what lessons have you learned about marketing and messaging that other entrepreneurs could apply to their own businesses?
I think it's very important for you to understand who your target market is. So right now, our target market is the Gen Xers and the millennials, right? They make up about 60% of the pet owners in the US right now, but they have different needs. So some of them are more affluent, some are working class. But one thing that we've focused on is our actual target market is a little bit more of that higher income people. They want a little bit more of that work done for them. Think of the mom with 3 kids or the doctor, lawyer, CEO type. They don't have an hour a day to train their dog. They don't necessarily even want to understand what we're doing. They want the end result, just like if they hired a cook or a housekeeper. They want the end result, and they are not as invested in the process. They're invested in the end result. And so going after that higher end market has made it a lot better. Because if my cost per conversion, if my cost to get a lead off of Google or Facebook or YouTube is somewhat the same, say it's like $100, then it makes sense for me to try to sell something that averages $2,400 versus say a PetSmart or Petco that sells a $100 class.
Right. How did you have to adjust your messaging to reach that target audience? Like, what did you shift?
Yeah. So one part of our messaging is the professionalism that we come across with, right? So I know it's going to sound silly, but we're wearing collared shirts. We come with so when I started, dog trainers had nothing on logo. We have wrapped vehicles. Most people don't. They're coming out with sweatpants and yoga pants and tank tops or whatnot. Right. And then, so like right now, if you were to go to our website, fill out the form, you're going to get a call within like 2 minutes.
Wow. That's fast.
Yeah. Anyone listening, they go ahead and try it. So except for maybe one of our peak times, that's going to happen. You're going to call real fast. And that's a big differentiator. People are like, they get blown away by that. But again, those higher income people, they have other stuff on their plate. They want something and they need it now. And so when that's their first interaction with us, that alone is a huge differentiator. And then when we come out and we have a professional consultation and our people aren't pushing a product, but they're actually listening, right? Because again, the higher end consumer, they don't want to be pushed and arm wrestled into a sale.
Nope.
Absolutely. Their sales radar goes off and they're like, get out of my house. And so our process isn't salesy. It's really consultative sales. I want to listen to that client and put them in the right package for them and see what they want to do based off them and their dog. And those two things, that customer service for the higher end client is really the differentiator from someone else who shows up and they maybe have they printed off a price list from their computer.
Yeah, so true. And what you said about really listening and finding the perfect solution for each client, it makes a huge difference. I mean,
it does.
It's not just cookie cutter approach. That's good.
People feel like it's cookie cutter and you're just putting them in a program regardless of what they think or what their dog needs.
Exactly.
Then they feel discomfort inside.
Yeah. Now you're planning to launch your own line of training e-collars. What excites you about this expansion, and how do you plan, again, to differentiate your product in the marketplace?
Yeah. So there's a lot of product out there. The biggest thing we want is an ease for our consumer. Again, thinking of our target market in mind. So there's some training collars out there that most of them are made for trainers. Right? So they're very complex. They may have 8 buttons, 2 dials, programmable settings. Right. I need as simple as possible. Again, my target market is the mom with 3 kids, doctor, lawyer, CEO type. I need something as absolutely simple as possible for them. And that's why we've been talking with manufacturers to create our own line, just because I want everything for my client to be as easy as possible. So then there's no reason they'd ever want to work with anybody else.
I hear you. So your collar has just one button that does all the things.
Yeah, we want it as absolutely simple as possible.
Awesome. I love it. Now, we already started to talk about systems before, but I'd like to dig a little deeper into the systems and frameworks that have been most crucial in allowing you to scale Tip Top K9 to where you are now. Absolutely.
So the biggest impact that we've had is just linear workflows, where it's step 1 through 6, 1 through 10. To franchise, we need everyone on linear framework where they're like, hey, if we start a dog, say a dog comes for a 2-week boot camp, day 1 and 2 look like this. This is all its expectations. This is the order of training. Day 3 and 4 look like this. Same with a private lesson or a consult. Everything is very linear. So for your audience particular, say have a business and you're like, what does a linear workflow look like for my business? So just take the consult. Take what you do for the consult and break it down into 10 steps. Write those 10 steps, write what you're doing in those 10 steps, give it to somebody else, see how they do. Whatever breaks when they do those 10 steps, redo your linear workflow, and basically keep doing that until you have a system in whatever service you're doing, whether it's a consult, fulfillment, shipping, answering the phone, etc. Right? So if you think of that franchise model, I know the founder of Subway before, he's been very braggadocious. Hey, a 14-year-old can run my store. Well, that's because the systems are so linear and so tight. So for any entrepreneur, the biggest thing is knowing who your target market is, knowing what the actual core services are, and then breaking those down into a very linear workflow where you can hand that workflow off to someone and check off every step and make sure they do. And whatever breaks, go back and rework it. That's the biggest thing that we've done with the call center, with shipping, orders, consultation, services, management, everything.
So simplicity really is key, right?
It is. If you have 130 different services with 130 different protocols, how is someone going to master that?
Yeah, it gets messy.
It does. It gets messy. And then what happens with the mess is they all go to the head. So whoever's the guru of the mess, they grow questions. And then the guru doesn't grow the business. They stay the guru. And that's where I was for a long time. So I'm speaking from experience. They stay the guru and they have a feeling of almost self-importance because people are coming to them and then they're fixing people's problems.
Yep.
Really, they are the source of the problems because they didn't simplify it enough for their people.
Good point. And it also, I mean, they feel important, but it also is the road to burnout, right? So that's Absolutely. What you want to avoid.
Yes. When that was me, I was working 80 hours a week, nonstop, all the time, right? Always burning.
Yeah. So what did you change in your life? Like what high performance habits or non-negotiables did you put into place, even in your personal life, to avoid burnout or to get out of that situation?
Yeah. One thing that really helped me is I started working out multiple times a week in the morning. Because it's easy if you own, like a lot of your listeners, if they own their own business, it's easy to work from sun up to sundown 6-7 days a week, right? That's very easy. But you are going to burn out. And so structuring time to work out, structuring time for family, that was probably the biggest thing. To start out, I actually worked out once or twice a week. So I went to the trainer and he said, "What are your goals?" And I said, "Work out once or twice a week." And he said, "That's not a goal." And I said, "Yeah, that's my goal." And I was like, "I haven't worked out in like 6 years. And so that's my goal." And he's like, "Why do you say once or twice?" And I was like, "Because I'm probably going to bail on one." And he's like, "That's the worst goals ever." But now I do 3 or 4 times a week. And, but it took me years to actually get into. So I started it out small because I know myself. Right? So that's what I would recommend for your listeners to do. Like, hey, as far as family time or fitness, because most people are there chasing the finances. Here's their finance. It's like huge. And then fitness, health, family is these little bitty slivers of the pie. And you got to give it just a little more traction so you don't burn out. Because your health and relationships, if you don't actually pay attention to them, they will leave you.
Yeah, they will.
Neither one of these things have to stay.
So true. And I mean, we talked about this just a little bit before we started recording. Can you tell us the story about your conference? Like, who was there and why? It made sense.
Absolutely. Right? So at our last business conference, we have 2 conferences a year. One's training, one's a business of the dog training industry, right? And so we had a naturopathic doctor there. He's actually my doctor, but he has people from all over the US that see him. And he spoke on health, diet, which a lot of people exercise, but supplements, a lot of the new supplements that are out there, peptides. He talked about health, right? Health and longevity, mental acuity. And then we had another guy, and he's a relationship coach, right? He does child parenting coach and relationship coaching with him and his wife. And people are like, our Tip Top location owners and managers like, why are these 2 guys on the agenda? What does this have to do with the dog business? And I was like, everything. Most of these businesses, a lot of businesses that close, divorce is an actual real issue, right? Yeah. Health problems are a real issue. So divorce and health issues are actually 2 of the biggest things that rob people of their financial freedom, rob people of their wealth. And so if you think of like all these professional athletes, they get a divorce and what they've spent their whole life doing, half their income's gone in a second.
Yep.
Right? Not to mention the actual quality of their life goes down as well. So we at Tip Top, I want to put priority on health, right? On relationships, because that's what's going to allow you to do a business long term. Life is not only about making money. You have to look at kind of the whole picture.
Yeah, I love how you said that because I think that's super, super important. And we want to be the antidote to all the hustle culture out there, all the sleep when you're dead. That might come through faster than you than you realize when you keep doing that. Now, franchising is often seen as a path to scaling a business rapidly, but it also comes with its own set of challenges. So let's talk about the challenges. What were some of the biggest growing pains that you faced?
Yeah, so some of the biggest growing pains early on before franchising, we actually had 6 corporate stores. And so we worked out our model on those before franchising because franchising is very transparent. If people leave my system, I have to put a list on our franchise disclosure document of who left and their phone number, right? And so they're available for phone calls. And I have to show everyone's income as well. So it's very transparent. And if the model's not solid, you just have to basically show everyone, it's government regulated industry, show everyone how it's not working. The other issue early on is people are like, it's a newer brand. They're excited about it. Some people want more freedom, right? They have more of an entrepreneur mindset than just a business owner manager mindset. So the franchise system works great for people who are like, hey, I want to go in here, take this system and work it and make as much money as possible or impact as many dogs as possible, whatever their goals are, right? If someone has this inner desire to create, a franchise is not good for that person that's looking for real entrepreneurship where they want to start something from the ground up. They want to be in control of every single aspect. Right. So one of our most successful location owners, Adam Wilburn, he owns 4 locations. No one in his family has ever owned a franchise or owned their own business. He was an HVAC technician, right? Before franchising. And so he's literally like, here's your system. Here's how it works. Here's how digital ads work. Someone's going to run your ads, right? Here's how the call center and invoicing works. He's not really doing anything new. He's just working the system. And once he works the system and basically replaces it himself in a business or in one location, he has an option. Hey, do I want to have more lifestyle choices right now? Or do I want to stack another location? He and his wife have chosen to stack locations, but he didn't go to business school. He was literally an HVAC technician, but he runs a system where I've spoken with some people and they're like, well, I really want to be a creative asset for the brand. Yeah. And we're like, well, you should apply for the marketing team, not to own a location then. Right?
Yeah. So it's great for people who are like systems people who just want to follow the instructions and not be too creative.
Yeah. Our other top 2 locations, one in Arizona, he runs a bathroom remodeling company too. Right. And the other one was a graphic designer and her husband was a mortgage broker.
Interesting.
Yeah. So basically people that want to do a job, follow a system, and they want revenue equaling their work, but instead of it going to an employer, extra hard work on them is going into their bank account.
Nice. Yeah. So if a driven entrepreneur listening to this podcast wants to franchise their business, what's the first step that they should take?
Great. That's an awesome question. So if someone wants to franchise, I would say first open multiple corporate stores, right? Make sure your model works. Right. And I do that. We did it for 2 years. Okay. And we actually fixed a lot of things in those 2 years. And then we franchised 5 out of those 6 stores. But in that time, we went from an initial training of 4 weeks to 6 weeks. We added the call center doing all the invoicing and billing. We started a product company because ordering from multiple, I gave everyone a giant list and how to order from all these vendors, but it was taking a lot of their time. So when we went from 1 to 5 and then 6 stores. And I did like that linear workflows and I gave it to people that weren't me or weren't my team. We were able to fix all the things that break. So what I would say is fix the things that break, go to multiple stores, and then there's multiple advisory groups. One right now we've worked some with, I wish I had known about them earlier, is SMB Advisors. But there's advisory groups that help people franchise and prepare all their documents. And basically they can condense your time frame because they've already set up 200, 300, 400 people to franchise. So work on your model first and then go with a consultant. It's still gonna be $100,000 plus, but go with a consultant, pay them to help get all your documents in order, and it will help you understand how the franchise model works better.
Thank you so much for sharing.
Yeah.
What would you say are maybe the biggest mindset shifts that you had to make to go from a single location owner to running a nationwide franchise?
The biggest mindset, well, first off, I like to train dogs, like I still do. Right. For a long time, we didn't grow because I didn't put my leash down. And I had a sales coach early on. He was like, hey, you're going to have to put the leash down at some point. And for a while, I couldn't do it. And I think that's one thing. The mindset shifts to now, instead of training dogs, I'm training owners. I'm training location owners. My job when I wake up every day is to make sure my locations win. That is my obsession at corporate. That is our focus, not training dogs. It's what do I need to do today to make sure my locations are winning tomorrow? That's my entire focus. So the mindset's going to shift from being like in the business to on someone else's business, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it totally does. Now, can you share a moment in your entrepreneurial journey that maybe felt like a disaster at the time, but ultimately led to a major breakthrough?
That's a hard question. Okay. Let me think for 1 second here.
Sure.
Put me on the spot, Claudia.
No, it's just that, like we said before, entrepreneurship is this crazy roller coaster of a journey, right? And often you have those ups and downs, and sometimes the downs feel like, oh my God, they're the end, they're the worst. But then they lead to a breakthrough. Yeah,
I guess so. One thing that we went through is in the beginning, we had one marketing firm we worked with. Now we have multiple, and we conduct audits throughout the year. But early on, we had outsourced the marketing, and I didn't have an internal marketing team. And I didn't have an external marketing process to audit my current marketing company. So what ended up happening is we had a marketing company that was getting paid and had a contract, but wasn't performing at the level that we needed or had agreed upon. And so that cost a lot of people a lot of money. Yeah. Okay. And so what that taught us at corporate is, hey, right now we have multiple marketing companies. And we have an audit process to use outside external auditors that are paid strictly for an audit to tell our team. And so now we have an internal team as well, and they can do that. But early on, that was probably our biggest issue, because the digital ads game is just advancing like this. With the AI and the automation and all the multiple channels, it's hard.
It is, and it's crazy. So which channel works best for you guys?
Right now, Google and YouTube, we're spending a lot more on TikTok. TikTok is actually not doing bad for us. But Instagram, we're doing a lot. Our YouTube channel has grown, I think, like 8,000 subscribers since January. So YouTube is popping. Facebook's been a little flat for us. So we're still trying to crack that. We've been throwing a lot of money at Facebook ads. And it's been weird. The same ads, different locations are converting quite a bit differently. I say a little, but quite a bit differently. But Google and YouTube, TikTok is all doing great for us, and Facebook for some locations.
Okay, good to know. If you had to start all over again and all you had was, say, 10K and your knowledge, what steps would you take to rebuild your business from scratch?
Yeah. 10K. Well, I would wrap my vehicle. I would spend half of it on my vehicle and half of it on a website. And then I would be out in public nonstop. Originally, early on, I know it sounds crazy, but early on, 2010 to 2012, almost all my lead gen was I had a wrap vehicle, and I would train dogs out in public for hours.
Oh, really?
Yep. And then I would sign people up at whatever price point I could get, and then would put that into digital ads. So I would immediately just get a website and a wrap vehicle and grind. I mean, we literally, my first employee, half of his day, he was behind Chick-fil-A training dogs with a wrap vehicle.
Wow.
We're like, is that dog sitting on a box for 30 minutes while he's training another dog? That's unreal. And they were blown away. And so that was our lead gen. And it works. People don't normally see that. So if I only had 10K, $5,000 on a website, a landing page, and then that's it. Landing page, one landing page, one video, and then a wrap vehicle.
And then all the money that comes in goes into ads.
All the money that comes in goes to ads. Yeah, I'd be eating ramen noodles, and all my money that goes in would be going to ads. All of it.
Oh my goodness. Sounds fun.
Yeah.
Is there anything else that you would like to share with our audience today?
Yeah. The people taking up the most space online are kind of what you talked about, Claudia, like the toxic influencers that like, oh yeah, you can sleep when you die 90 hours a week for 20 years. That's success. To me, that's not real success, right? Some of that like 0.01%. Sure. Yeah. If you do 90 hours of anything forever, you could possibly be successful. Mm-hmm. But at what cost? It's not worth your health. It's not worth your relationships. That would be my biggest thing is just don't believe the toxic hustle till you die influencers. If you hustle till you die and you make tons of followers and you die empty, is that worth it? It's hard. I don't think so.
Nah.
It's
that's not real success. That's not real success, at least not in my book.
Yeah.
So last but not least, where can our listeners find you online if they would like to connect with you or learn more about your work?
Yeah, you can connect with me. Website's tiptopk9.com. It's tiptopk9.com. And I'm on LinkedIn, Ryan Wimpey.
Fantastic. Ryan, thank you so much for sharing your story and your insights with us today. It's been great talking with you.
Thanks for having me on, Claudia.
Absolutely. Keep up the great work. Take care and talk to you soon.
All right. Thanks.
Thank you so much for listening to the Wired for Success podcast. I hope you've enjoyed this episode. If you did, please take a sec to rate and review my show or share it with a friend. That way you can support the show and help me reach and support other entrepreneurs like yourself as well. If you would like my help to figure out how you can go from overwhelmed and overworked hustler to empowered and confident leader, check out my website at www.wiredforsuccess.solutions and book a free 20-minute strategy session with me. Can't wait to help you get wired for success. Until next time, take care. Bye.